Hello everyone, this is Lisa Andrus, Psychic Medium, and this is your weekly reading for September 7th through 13th, 2015. And this week, as you can see, I'm using Healing with the Fairies by Doreen Virtue. I felt guided to this deck, and then it was funny, I went to look on my shelf and it was like they were almost hanging out like they were waiting for me to grab them. And then right before I did this, I cleansed the cards, meaning that I lit some Palo Santo wood. I spread all the cards out, and I only do that when I feel guided to. And today I felt guided to, so I feel like they have nice, renewed, cleany, shiny energy. And let's see what the week has in store with us. I feel like I'm going to channel a message, but I want to see what comes up in the reading before I channel the message. Maybe some of it will be coming out in the reading because we do have 4 cards this week. And let's see what the week has in store for us. This is your Monday, Tuesday card, and it is feeling safe. Immediately I hear you are safe on this earth, child. No matter how bad you feel or how alone you feel, or if you feel scared, because I feel like there's fear in this message. They want me to tell you I've been feeling really, I want to say for the last couple of days, discombobulated and kind of alone. You know, in life, I'm alone. I think at this point in my life, I thought it would turn out a little differently than it did. I didn't expect to be divorced. I didn't expect not to have the family. I didn't expect to just be alone because I would rather be alone than wish I were alone. But sometimes that causes, you know, I love my independence, but then I've just been feeling really alone here these last few days. And that can cause a feeling of feeling unsafe. I feel like there are some of you that are awakening to your life purpose, and that's scarier than shit, frankly. I know that when I finally stopped fighting the fact that I was a medium, that was scary. I didn't know how to tell people that I was going to go to a psychic development class and so on and so forth. And it was kind of scary. But when I just allowed myself to trust and know that, you know, I've said this before, but I've never met anybody who's tried to be a medium that was very successful. If you don't develop a gift such as being a medium, you might experience intense anxiety. I've heard the Long Island medium say that before she developed into a medium, she had some huge anxiety problems. I would imagine I did too. And if it's something like that, or something new, or just a feeling of fear and you don't know where it's coming from, you know, a lot of us are empathic. And especially light workers, which if you're listening to this, you're a light worker. And a light worker is somebody with a purpose that's bigger than their own life. Maybe it's to help others in some way. Just know that you're not alone, that you chose to come here to Earth to help other people. And even if your life didn't turn out the way you planned, meaning, you know, I just said I didn't think I wouldn't have children. It certainly was not for lack of trying. But, you know, when I asked my guides about it, they basically said you knew exactly what you were getting into when you took this body, when you came to Earth, and know that you are safe and that it will all work out. And if I'm supposed to adopt or I'm not supposed to have children, I guess there's nothing I can do to control that, but I have to know that I'm safe regardless of how alone I feel or how depressed I feel. I'm hearing the message laugh more because life sometimes feels so heavy and that makes us feel unsafe. There's a lot of turbulence on Earth right now. Venus has just gone direct, and Venus is the planet that rules love. So there have been some romance shakeups here within the last few weeks while Venus has been retrograde. Retrograde means the planet goes backwards. And that might cause an uncomfortable shift. If there's a start of a new relationship within the last few weeks, it has the best chance of success if it's somebody that you previously had a romance with. that might happen also in a Venus retrograde. And I'm feeling lots of things, I think, because Venus went direct about romance. But again, I'm just going to see what else comes up in the other cards here and go through the weekly reading. And whatever is not said in this reading, I will go ahead and finish channeling, okay? So this is the middle of the week, and it is Make Music. Are you a musician somewhere in there? I'm a musician. That's what I went to school for. It's funny. We just had an intern at work the other day, and she's 17. It was funny because I said to her, I've been in the financial services industry for 17 years when I graduated from college for music. At the time when I was going to school, I wanted a record deal, and then I realized, I think in the process of being in school, maybe what I thought I wanted wasn't exactly what I wanted. So I just went out and got a job in corporate America. But it was funny because the 17-year-old that was sitting with me was fascinated because she loves music and is not sure what to do about it. So we had a good talk because she was very fascinated about how a girl who majored in music ended up with a job like I did. And so we just kind of talked about it, and I was in cover bands for a while. And it got to be a lot with the day job and all the other things that I do. And it was, for me, while I loved it, at the same time, it was tough, all of the driving that you do. I live in a state where we get some pretty tough winters. And I remember all the driving that I did. We were essentially working in bars, so that was hard. But there's a piece of me that I still have the music in my heart. And I know that at some point, if and when I'm supposed to share it again, I will. So even if you're not out playing music, if you've got music within you and whether you think you're talented with it or not, get it out. Sometimes when I am in my car, I will sing, especially if I'm angry, because I feel, to me, it's a good outlet for energy, and I just sing, whatever my favorite power ballads or whatever, and I kind of get it out. And if you're not connecting with the making music, then I think that there's a love of music, and that you need to turn on the radio or Pandora or whatever more than the TV, because music sometimes lifts a vibration and clears energy. And I have a certain thing, there's a certain radio station on Pandora that I love to listen to every Sunday morning. It's the Americana channel, which is kind of like Neil Young and kind of folky, which is funny because I have an eclectic taste in music. I tend to go more towards R&B, but every once in a while I like stuff like that. And so it's just a little sort of tradition that I've started with myself, and I just feel like that's my Sunday morning brunch, if you will, vibration, and I just play that music and I enjoy having it around the house. I feel fortunate because when I was a child, my dad said to me, music is very important, and sometimes it's much better to listen to some music than to turn on the TV. And I never forgot that, and maybe that was one of the many reasons that I was interested in making music. So no matter what this means, maybe it means if you've been thinking to go out to see a band, go see a band. Get out there and do it, and don't have regrets. They want me to tell you that there's D'Angelo, who's an R&B artist that I love. To me, in a lot of ways, I think he was one of the fathers of neo-soul, and that kind of music just connects to my heart. I love him. He'd made a couple of albums, and he had not made music in a long time, and I used to actually pray, not kidding, that he would make another album. And he did, and he's touring, and he's actually in the town that I live tonight. And I've been waffling back and forth with whether or not to go, and I figure I'll just go up to the last minute. I'm so happy that he made his album, and if I'm supposed to go see him, I will. But they say to me, honor those feelings, and just because it's a pain to leave the house or a pain to be in a crowd, if you feel like you would regret not trying and not doing something like that, especially if it's in regards to music, Prince also this weekend is having a show 3 nights. And it's funny, I'm seeing on the news that people drove here because I actually live very close to his studio, and that's where he's having it. And they drove here all the way from Oklahoma for an opportunity to see him. They don't even know if they'll get in. And man, I call that some blind faith. Last year, Justin Timberlake was in town. I love that guy, and his tickets were very expensive. And at the last minute, I got a ticket, and it was more than I wanted to pay, but I still got a really good deal on it. And he was here on a really cold winter night. And yeah, it was hard to leave the house, but I'm really glad I did. It was one of my favorite things that, I had done. And I'm so glad that I did it. So if there's something in regards to music, and maybe for some of you, it's either taking a lesson or your child wants a lesson, it's never too late. I remember when I was in school and the first instrument I played was the clarinet. I really wanted to play, listen, I've always been an R&B and jazz girl at heart. I really wanted to play the saxophone. We couldn't afford one. So I had to play the clarinet. And I feel like if you have that similar experience with a child and there's any way you can swing it to get them the instrument they want, I just feel like it will give them something, and you will see their vibration, increase in a good way because of it. All right, for the weekend we have here body movement. I've been getting messages about this a lot lately. I don't exercise a lot. I'm just not a big fan of exercise. I think a lot of us as humans are. I remember actually at one of my classes, I received a reading and was told that I've had lifetimes where I have, given up my life for either religious reasons or lived in poverty or whatever. And it was kind of connected to the reason that maybe I just like being comfortable, and I'm blessed because despite the normal human discomforts, I have food and I have shelter and so on and so forth. But I know that at the times in my life before when I have exercised, it always increases my vibration. Actually at work, one girl that I work with told me, because our team had been stressed out in the past year, and she told me she started doing yoga and it's really helped her with the body, mind, and spirit connection. And if you've had some frustrations with your body, it's possible that body movement can help with it. And if it's something, because I almost feel like there's some people thinking, when they hear this message, nobody likes to be nudged, but it's for our own greatest and highest good. I've said previously, if you've listened to my readings or read my books, I felt guided to go on a weight loss journey probably about 4 years ago. I had always been one of those people that said I was never going to diet. I had just an aha moment. I did a weight loss program. I lost the weight, and then I hit the magical age of 40. And while it did a pretty good job at staying off, I would say within the last year I've had enough change. Maybe it's age-wise or hormone-wise, or just because I've moved twice and my life has had a little bit of a shake-up. But I've gained, probably about 10 of the 40 pounds back. Not the end of the world. I just think to myself, you know what, Lisa? It's not going to all come back overnight. Relax. But then I think to myself, it would probably help me, not only for mind, body, spirit if I did that body movement, but perhaps it would help me with that extra little weight that I really don't want hanging out. So if you've been feeling guided to it, so what I've been doing is looking through work to see like what kind of plans they support and so on and so forth. Go take a tour of a place, and there's no saying that you have to commit. Don't pay for it before you're ready to go. But if you are into yoga, there's lots of places where you can just drop in and, pay $20 or whatever for a class. There's anything that you can do in regards to body movement, especially if you're not doing anything right now, counts. I don't pressure myself and say, hey, I've got to do it so many times a week like they say you should. Because to me right now, anything I could be doing, even if it's 10 minutes on a treadmill or a 10-minute walk, is better than nothing, okay? And then the overlying card for the week is laughter. And that did come up about life being serious. And sometimes we need to just relax and have some fun. And do an activity that's fun with no other reason other than laughter or having fun. Last week I went to our state fair, which I normally never go to. I'm not a big fan of the crowds, but I like to go once every few years. And I went with one of my friends that, it's funny, we were joking and saying that the reason we get along so well is because we laugh. It's not heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy all the time. We're both air signs. He's a Libra, I'm a Gemini. And so I just kind of said, maybe we just connect together and we complement each other and we can laugh and we can keep things light that air signs sometimes tend to do. And if you don't know anything about astrology, it's okay. But he's just a friend that I laugh with, and we just have a great time. And it was funny because we both agreed we only have so many hours we can stay, and then we'll both want to go. It's hot, and you pig out on the special fair foods or whatever. And we both ended up staying a lot longer than we thought we would because we were having so much fun. And it was just a good experience for the both of us. And it had no other agenda other than we're going to go check this out. We're going to live life rather than think about what we'd like to do. And maybe we'll have some laughter as a result. Okay, so they want me to, I know this is getting a little bit long, so I'm sorry about that. But they wanted me to talk about romance because as I started talking about Venus going direct now, if you have wanted new romance or you've been alone for a while, it might be time to start thinking about it. And I have been single for almost a year and I have wanted nothing to do with romance. I have, I just feel like every time I'm in a relationship, it's funny what I know as a light worker now, maybe, it's cynical, but I just felt like, okay, I'm tired of the lessons. I'm tired of the relationships that are lessons. I want to focus on me. I want to focus on helping other people, and I really don't want to be bothered. And I'd had a couple people kind of express some interest, and I frankly asked my angels to please shut it down because I just wasn't ready. I think I was still healing my past relationship that didn't work out because we were very in love and then decided we wanted very different things for our life, and it just didn't match. And so we ended it amicably, but we ended it. And that still hurts, and it's hard to put yourself out there. And all of a sudden yesterday, I kid you not, yesterday, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, like, okay, maybe I'm ready. Maybe not today, but just kind of opening that door a little. And I feel like my guide said to me, probably within the last month, I just intuitively felt them encouraging me to try to figure out what I want, because somebody will come and it would be much more helpful. I feel like almost they were saying they'll know what to send if I actually decide what I want. And so, yeah, if you don't feel like you want to go on a website, like a dating website, then put yourself out there. There's a website called meetup.com where you can find maybe local singles groups, or just ask your angels to help. And it's really going to help you if you make a list. Even if you've made a list before, because we're always changing. And then they wanted me to address if there are any of you that are in relationships that you have not been happy in for a long time, and you've been thinking about leaving, you will not find... Okay, here's what they're saying is, if you really strongly feel like leaving, you have to take baby steps. You have to do the hard work to get to the good thing. They're sorry to say it this way, but you must take the steps towards what you want and whether or not you think you're desirable anymore, or too old, or too fat, or too this, or too that. There's always somebody out there, and if you are feeling like that in your relationship right now, to me, that's the universe saying that there's something better out there for you. But you must do the work first. I feel like for those of you that have put yourself out there and you have been picky, or, it's okay to be picky, but what they're saying to me is you must also leave the house. You must also put yourself out there, whether it's a singles event or a singles mixer or speed dating or whatever it might be. Even if you do something like speed dating, for me, I've always had this idea that might just produce a few good stories that you could tell your friends and laugh. I've never heard anybody who's met a long-term romantic partner on those. I'm sure, maybe that's just me. But even if you do something like that, where maybe it's not that serious, one, you never know, but two, I feel like it's still putting energy out there that's saying to the universe that you're open. And then ask the angels to be your doorman and to not let anybody in that's not for your greatest and highest good. And then listen to your intuition. If it feels like you're forcing something and you get that tightness in your abdominal region, especially your abdominal region, like when you say yes to a date for somebody that asks you out. If you get that tightness in there, then to me, it might be something you want to listen to before you enter into that potential relationship. Now, there's nothing wrong with going out on a date, but they're just saying to decide what you want, to do the work, and to know that romance is on the way to you if and when you want to open yourself to that. And if some of you aren't ready for that yet, it's okay. Then ask the universe to help you heal your broken heart, whether it's from romance or whether it's from something else in life. Good things are on the way to you. I feel like we're really at a turning point with the energy right now. And in a good way. I personally feel like 2015 so far has been a tough year for me. Not terrible, but lots of lessons in growth, as I will say. And to know that if you feel like that, you're not alone. I feel like I just want you guys to all know that you're safe, that everything will work out. Have some fun sometimes. Open yourself up to new things, even if it's sometimes scary. Know that I love each and every one of you, and I want to thank you for tuning in with me. This is Lisa Andrus, Psychic Medium. I hope you have a great week, and I'll speak to you again next week.